This is my grandmother Emmy, and I've known Emmy for my whole life, but I've never heard her testimony until recently. When I heard your testimony, it was just so amazing. It moved me in that kitchen, so I was like, this has to get out. So I asked Emmy if she would share her testimony, and she said she would, so here we are.
I was born in Japan, and I came to America '87 to teach about Japanese culture in public school system. It was an exchange program. I was put in a Christian home, and my host father was a pastor of a church, so I started going to church, not because I wanted to know God, but because I wanted to experience American culture. That was the initial motivation. But then that soon changed. Kept going because I started seeing something I was not familiar with, which is the love among the believers. I was raised by a very loving, caring parents, so it's not like I was looking for love or affection, acceptance, but I saw something I didn't know, which caused me to think, what is that those people have? I just kept going and started asking a lot of questions, and then I met your grandpa, who was my future husband, and he gave me Japanese Bible. It was just New Testament Bible, but I read 4 times. But even though I read 4 times from the beginning to the end, there's so many mystery, so many words that I couldn't get it. So I was a little frustrated. But then one day I went to my second host family, who was also a very good Christian. So I went to them and I said, I really want to know your God, and I want to know how to become a Christian. Your grandpa used to say how much Jesus changed him, and I wanted that. I wanted to have a better version of myself. As I searched, I understood the way they relate to each other was really individuals' relationship with their God they worship, and I wanted that. We sat at the kitchen table, and then they gave me different verses, and many verses were about me being a sinner, and then one verse was, all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and then the other one was, God demonstrated his love toward us while we were still yet sinners. He died for us. So they really emphasized I'm a sinner.
Yeah.
But it really offended me. The word sin in Japanese character is just one character, but the word crime is 2 characters. One is being sin. So when I hear I'm a sinner, I felt like I was being told I'm a criminal.
Yeah.
I committed some kind of crime. So it was very hard for me to understand. I thought my conversation with my, American parents will lead me to finally get to know God. And I went back to my room, very sad, because nothing happened. So I went to my room, and then I was already late at night, but I kept reading the Bible. Not only the verses they gave me, but because I had the Japanese Bible, I just kept reading and praying, reading and praying. And that lasted at least for 2 hours, deep into night. And then I still remember I was sitting on the bed with my Bible, and then suddenly I felt somebody came behind me and took off heavy burden off of my shoulder. And it was so real that I looked back to see if there is somebody was behind me. And I knew at that point, because I was born as a sinner, from birth to that moment, I was carrying this heavy burden called sin, which I never knew. When you're born with it, that's all you know. But then as soon as that was lifted, I knew instantly I am a sinner. I kept on reading, and I knew that I was a sinner, and he died for my sin. And then one verse that spoke to me was, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is the Lord and believe in your heart He raised him from the dead. You are saved. So next morning, I went back to my host parents, and because he says confess your mouth, so I knew that I better confess.
Yeah.
So I told my host mother, who was in the kitchen, my decision to believe in Jesus, and
Wow.
she was just overjoyed, and so was my American father, and they just celebrated that I understood. And then just like the word says, if you call my name in truth, I will show myself to you. And then Jesus definitely did that for me.